Alright. Hi, everyone, and welcome to TWF NXT. Gorilla Monsoon, here with Edward Collins and the Jackal. And today on NXT, we're gonna have a good show. Well, Edward Collins said we got Drew McIntyre coming to the ring. We don't know what's going to happen from there. No, we don't, the Jackal says. And I'm thankful that I'm not the one in the ring with him. Because this guy's crazy. You know. This man's crazy. He also has a belief that kindness is a weakness. And that if you don't forgive someone, that makes you stronger. But that's a bad mindset to have, the Jackal says. But anyway, that's his mindset. That's his stand. Who am I to say I'm wrong about it or not? Alright, Drew McIntyre goes. You know, shit hasn't always worked the way I wanted it to go. Alright? I was a former two-time TWF heavyweight fighter. Hell, I was a two-time WWE heavyweight fighter. WWE NXT heavyweight fighter. IW heavyweight fighter. EPW heavyweight fighter. WWE Interlanded fighter. Two-time WWE tag team fighter. And for some other grounds sake of why, that just doesn't really seem to work out. You know? So I started teaming up with Duke from the G.I. Joes, you know, that well-known Hasbro self. And shit just doesn't go the way it's supposed to bloody go. It's like, oh well, I'm sorry we didn't win the match against Kalisto and Mankind. Cause you, Duke, you're the one that said you're sorry. For what? Forgiveness for losing a match. Okay, first off, I have been answerable to my followers for years. Those who were with me during the good times and the bad times. And let me tell you something. I'm done playing the good doer. I'm done playing the keeper, the helper, the good doer. Getting myself in business I shouldn't be in. You know. And where does it always get me? In binds that I didn't want to be in. And then you got other folks coming out to scathe me and say, oh well, you should have done something. Well, I didn't see you doing anything. I didn't see you doing the greater good. So here's the way it's going to be. Alright? I'm going to start behaving the way I want to behave. I'm going to start doing the shit I want to do. Now, some of you folks out there might scathe me and say, oh, Drew McIntyre's up to no good. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I'm not doing anything bad. Let's be earnest about that. I'm not doing anything bad. But I'm just sick of everyone just forgetting that everything happened. And then, you know, forgetting everything happened. So where is, you know, so yeah, I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it. And tough shit. Oh, Skeletor says. So you're going to be a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil now. Get out of my bloody business, Skeletor. I didn't say anything about being a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. I just said I wasn't going to get in anyone's business anymore. If it had nothing to do with me, then I was going to keep out of it. Just like this has nothing to do with you. And where's your staff at? Well, I don't know where the staff went. It's in the bag, and I gotta take everything out just to get, only to get it. But I think you would be a great follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. I truly think you have what it takes to be a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil, Drew McIntyre. And I'll tell you why. Because that is the mindset of a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil, is to fuck everyone else, worry about yourself. So, I do like that mindset. I'm going to warn you right now. Get out of the ring. Leave me alone. You don't know anything about me. Shit. Oh yeah, now there goes my staff. You don't know anything about me. Leave me alone before you get your head smashed in. You can't tell me what to do or what not to do. And if I want to be in your business, then by God, I'll be in your business. Well, if that's so, then sadly, shit. Oh. Well, I lost something. Then you're going to get your head in. And I'm going to tell you one last time, Skeletor. Leave me alone. You don't want this. Yeah, I do want this, Skeletor says. Because I think you would be a great follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. And once I get my staff in my hand... Alright, you'll be... Ah, shit! My staff keeps falling out of my hands. He just Claymore kicked it down. Skeletor, Gorilla Monsoon says. He did warn him many times to leave him alone, and Skeletor wouldn't listen to him. Yeah, Edward Collins said Skeletor being a creep, being a bully, not leaving Drew McIntyre alone when he was in a bad mood. Edward Collins says, what do you know about folks? What do you know about folks being in a good mood or a bad mood? You know, he's like, yeah. He's like, what do you know about folks, being in a good mood? Or, being in a good mood or a bad mood, the Jackal says. I think Drew McIntyre would make a great follower to 4-1 Bonds of Evil. See, we're going to have a match now. I don't care if you are ready. Ding, ding, ding. Well, the Jackal says, I think Drew McIntyre would make a great follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. Hey, this knockdown Skeletor knocked a staff out of his hand, the Jackal says. That's truly sad. Well, Drew McIntyre's got a new standard, a new mindset, a new stand, Gorilla Monsoon says. Future shot DDT on Skeletor, the so-called evilest follower, the 4-1 Bonds of Evil, Gorilla Monsoon says. Yeah, all the followers of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil call themselves the evilest, Edward Collins says. But we all know who the evilest one was. None of them. Except for Dark Spectre or Dark Ghost. Oh yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that, the Jackal says. But I think that Drew McIntyre should at least listen to Skeletor. Because Skeletor has been a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil for sundrous years. And he could have been a good follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm just saying, the Jackal says. Would you stop? Drew McIntyre will never be a follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil, Jackal, Gorilla Monsoon said. Highly unlikely. You got that right, Edward Collins says. He's going to throw him out of the ring for him. Ah! Take your staff, too. Here is your winner, Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre has beat Skeletor here today on NXT. And to say that Skeletor is one of those upcoming wrestlers in the Toy Wrestling Federation, Toy Wrestling Gathering, Gorilla Monsoon says, that would be a hell belief. Gorilla Monsoon says, yeah, Edward Collins said, Skeletor got put in his stead. Drew McIntyre warned him sundriest times to leave him alone, but he wouldn't listen to him, Edward Collins said. So that meant Drew McIntyre was in the right to kick him, DDT him, get him into a wrestling match or a wrestling fight he didn't want to be in. The Jackal says, Drew McIntyre nothing more than a evildoer playing as a good doer. The Jackal says, would you stop, Jackal? Stop that, Osiris, saying he's a evildoer playing as a good doer. Give me a break. Would you stop with that? Well, I understand now Mike Lane now is now going to talk with Drew McIntyre. Alright, Gorilla Monsoon, I'm going to be talking with Drew McIntyre here today on NXT. Drew McIntyre, today you say you have a new stand, a new mindset. Well, first off, Mike Lane, I had a new stand and a new mindset. See, my new mindset, my new stand is, I'm going to stop putting my nose in other folks' business. Stop being the good doer who fights for the greater good and stop helping the helpless, because all it does is put me in a bloody bind. So, that's what I said earlier. Well, Drew McIntyre, it seems that Skeletor, that follower, the 4-1 Bonds of Evil, from He-Man and the overlings of the world, wouldn't listen to you. You told him to leave you alone. He kept on saying you told him alone many times. He wouldn't listen to you, and that was why you had your match with him. See, Skeletor thinks that with my new mindset and my new stand, Mike, he thinks I'll be a great follower of the 4-1 Bonds of Evil. When did I ever say that I was going from the 4-1 Bonds of Good to the 4-1 Bonds of Evil? When did I say that? Never. So now Skeletor, I told him not to fuck with me, to leave me bloody hell alone. He wouldn't listen, so I had to bloody beat the shit out of him. And need be, he will learn. Because he's never won because He-Man's beat him all the time. And looks like I beat him too. Well, that's my talk with Drew McIntyre. Back to you, Gorilla Monsoon. Thank you, Mike Lane, for talking with Drew McIntyre here today on NXT. And it looks like it is all the time we got here for NXT. I, Gorilla Monsoon, Edward Collins, and the Jackal. We hope you like NXT, and we'll see you tomorrow for Dynamite, or Might.